To Aura News, European Commission spokeswoman Maja Kocijancic said that the following European Council decision, the Commission intends to launch preparatory work with Albania, otherwise known as the screening process. Prime Minister Edi Rama spent only 10 minutes in his parliamentary speech commenting on the decision for integration, stressing that despite what the opposition says, the country has a definitive date for negotiations. The vetting process of Judge Artan Laze of Tirana's District Court is reviewing only the wealth proposition, resulting in a request from Laze's lawyer to dismiss the trial chamber in its entirety. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Thursday the 28th of June 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. Following the difficult decision and after long hours of discussion, Albania was given a new chance for June 2019 as the date to open negotiations, provided we meet the demands of the European Council. The decision was considered a positive one by the European Commission, where the EU Commissioner Johannes Hahn, after congratulating our country, said that the Commission will already start preparatory work to assist Albania in opening negotiations. Aura News asked the European Commission spokeswoman Maja Kocijancic if the preparatory work had to do with the screening process, and her response was confirmatory. The Commission will continue its commitment to accompany Albania and the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia in their reform efforts as part of their preparation to open accession negotiations in June 2019. In this context, the Commission will begin the necessary preparatory work. This includes the technical screening of legislation and the preparation of the negotiating framework, said Maja Kocijancic. The well-known screening process is a comprehensive exercise led by the Commission to prepare membership negotiations. This process enables the candidate country to further adapt to European legislation and allows the Commission to evaluate the candidacy of countries. Typically, this process lasts more than a year and provides a solid basis for the decision that member states will take on chapters and membership negotiations. Following the decision of the EU foreign ministers for the negotiations, Lulzim Basha warned of a strong political turn, and this was reflected in Parliament, where, after more than 2 months of blockade, the opposition requested 7 hours and 30 minutes of debate on the integration issue. Prime Minister Edi Rama had been allocated 50 minutes to speak, but he used only 10. In this short speech, he praised the decision of the General Affairs Council as a victory, stressing that Albania has already a date when negotiations will be opened. "We have nothing to argue. We have no work at all with these people," he said, addressing the opposition. He added, "Our burden is very heavy and we cannot keep them happy at our expense. Let's leave them to what they think is their job while we move forward, because there is a lot to be done and many challenges to overcome." Along with the Macedonian Prime Minister, I received the invitation from Brussels to sit down to start the preparatory work. "We have the date for the opening of negotiations, despite the DP saying that we do not. We wish you well in debating this amongst yourselves," remarked Edi Rama. The Prime Minister did not spare any irony with the opposition. After his speech, Prime Minister Rama left Parliament immediately following the leader of the opposition, Lulzim Basha, had the right to speak. The DP chair said that with this government there will be no integration, while saying that the opposition works for the interest of Albania. Lulzim Basha repeated to the Assembly of the Republic of Albania that negotiations are not open with our country, and the finger of responsibility was wagged at the government. "If we do not remove this government, the result will be the same next time. Today is the day that Edi Rama is proven bankrupt in every respect. It is only the Prime Minister who has no single achievement in terms of integration. The 2 Toyota cars are the tip of the iceberg. The governors come to guarantee the dirty euro," said Lulzim Basha. "The government is hostage to crime," Basha said, calling on citizens to create what he calls a national union to remove Edi Rama, saying that he holds the country hostage and prevents integration, damaging the future of the country. The Durrës court has left in prison the 4 arrested over the €3.4 million. Father and son Edi and Clevis Lika, Alban Molarumeri and Agim Cheka arrived in court under strict security measures. All the evidence is expected to be passed on to the serious crimes prosecution after the decision of the Durrës court to issue security measures for the 4 arrested persons who are required to remain in prison. The arrestees were again questioned yesterday, but have resigned to their previous statements, denying they were aware of the amounts of cash they were carrying in the two vehicles coming from Belgium. Meanwhile, police are pursuing searches for the two stated on the search and arrest warrant, now named as Elvis and Alfred Vladi, who are believed to have received the orders. Verification via the TIMS system has not given any results, and since the two Vladi cousins have not used any regular border crossings to exit the country, it seems to add to the suspicion that they have been removed illegally or are being hidden internally. However, at all border points, their photos and other data are distributed to enable identification and detention in cases they attempt to pass. In parallel, investigations are ongoing with regard to blowing the lid off the operation. The Directorate of Professional Standards in the State Police has initiated disciplinary proceedings for some on the affected border police in Durrës and those of economic crime. For 3 days until June 23, when the euro was seized, the information circulated among a small group of police officers who were all put through verifications to determine from where the information was leaked. This is due to the fact that the flow of information, one of which relates to the release of pictures published in the media, presenting the bags of euro in its original packaging as the material of evidence. The Independent Qualification Commission held a hearing today for the re-evaluation of Arten Laze, a judge of the Tirana District Court. The trial panel was chaired by Brunilda Bekteshi alongside Lulzim Hamitai and the relator, and Oltsi Komitsi as the final member. The judge was present at the hearing himself, represented by lawyer Sokol Hazizai. The presiding judge said that in the process of re-evaluating Mr. Laze, this panel has decided to conclude after assessing only one criterion, that of wealth. There is no further need to assess the reputation or professional experience of this subject. Based on this, the lawyer, Sokol Hazizai, stated that the assessment for Laze based on only one criterion is unconstitutional, as the evaluation is intentionally three-dimensional. But the trial chamber dismissed the lawyer's request to include the remaining three criteria in the assessment. Under these circumstances, the lawyer made another request. I find that the decision is unilateral and require the dismissal of the trial chamber. The IQC decided to administer the request for review, while the session was postponed to July 2nd. The Constitution envisages a three-dimensional evaluation, said Sokol Hazizai. In a statement to the media, lawyer Hazizai explained why he seeks control over the three components for his client. Article Q of the Constitution foresees the three-dimensional evaluation of the re-evaluation subject, that is integrity, wealth and professionalism. As such, it is unjust for the IQC to make a decision based on only one. It is clear that they should consider not only the IQC, but also the subjects of re-evaluation. I am seeking regularity of the legal process, said Sokol Hazizai. Asked what he expects from July 2nd and whether he is convinced that the trial body will accept the request for the reassignment of a new trial chamber, he said, I am of the opinion that the process has started in order. Every IQC decision or preliminary report should recognise the subject for its three-dimensional evaluation. It is the IQC's right to ascertain his dismissal due to any one factor. The Information Authority on the files of former state security associates has started collecting documents from the period of the state's dictatorship in Albanian archives. The head of this institution, Gentiana Sula, has announced the figures of the documents found. Around 32 million pages, or 2.3 kilometres of archival fund, paper and microfilms, were identified, estimated to be about 80% of the fund. About 9,000 documents were declassified in the first year, said Gentiana Sula. In the report presented to Parliament were also provided the figures of former associates who have tried to run or be part of the administration. About 821 candidates or officials went ahead in the image of cleanliness filter before appointment or promotion, while 13 people have resulted to be positive from this search, said Gentiana Sula. A high demand flow, Sula expects, and from the state police. We expect a huge influx regarding the verification of figures with Parliament's approval of the law on police vetting, where we expect 12,000 members of the police staff to pass our filters. So we appeal to fill that number of staff that has been adopted in this Parliament in December 2016, and instead of the 25 people we have today, we have 55 people in the Technical Secretariat, said Gentiana Sula. Sula, during the report, underlined that for them will also open the files for the period of King Zog and those of Kosovo to the public. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.